Select the one sentence that best meets the requirements of standard written English. Looking at our choices, we can see that they're nearly identical aside from the punctuation. With this in mind, let's take a close look at each choice, taking punctuation into account. A. With many Americans who got Pfizer vaccinations already rolling up their sleeves for a booster shot, millions of others who received the Moderna or Johnson & Johnson vaccine wait anxiously to learn when it's their turn. This choice uses a semicolon to separate these two clauses. A semicolon's main job is to separate two independent clauses, that is, clauses that include a subject, predicate, and express a complete thought. The second clause here is an independent clause. The subject is millions of others, and the predicate is wait. The first clause, however, is not independent. It doesn't express a complete thought. Ignoring the second clause for now, the first clause simply says, with many Americans who got Pfizer vaccinations already rolling up their sleeves for a booster shot. This leaves the reader hanging. With many Americans rolling up their sleeves for a booster shot, what? As this clause doesn't express a complete thought, it's not an independent clause, and therefore a semicolon wouldn't be an appropriate punctuation mark to use in this context. This choice can be marked as incorrect. B. This sentence uses a comma to separate these two clauses. As we discussed in the previous choice, the first clause is dependent. In this sentence, it functions as what's known as an introductory clause. It gives us some background, but it's not the main point of the sentence. The main point of the sentence is what follows, that those who received the Moderna or Johnson & Johnson vaccine still don't know when they'll be receiving their booster shot. Because this introductory clause isn't strong enough to stand on its own as a sentence, a comma is the perfect punctuation mark to use to separate it from the main clause and distinguish the two. This being the case, this is likely our answer, but we can take a look at our remaining choices just to be sure. C. This choice separates these two clauses with a colon. A colon is used when introducing lists, for emphasis, or for examples. However, what we see following the colon is none of these. If anything, it contrasts with the original idea brought up in the first clause. This choice can be marked off. And D. This choice tries to connect the two clauses with the conjunction and. However, this simply turns the entire sentence into a dependent clause. Now the entire sentence functions as some sort of run-on introductory clause without actually making a point or expressing a complete thought. This being the case, we can mark this choice off and mark our original answer, choice B, as our final answer.